What if your crush actually does like you, but he's just trying not to make it obvious? Because honestly, some guys are way less subtle than they think they are. And if your crush has been acting a little different around you lately, this video might explain everything. Because when someone secretly likes you, it usually shows in the smallest things first. It's not always huge romantic gestures. Sometimes it's just the way he looks at you, the way he texts you, the way he suddenly starts acting a little weird. And once you notice these signs, it becomes really hard to unsee them. So, my lovies, if you have a crush right now and you keep wondering, wait, does he like me too? Listen very carefully, because there's a good chance the signs are already there.
If you want the truth about attraction, dating, and human psychology, you're in the right place. But before we start, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos about relationship psychology, dating advice, and love facts. And tell me in the comments what topic you'd like me to talk about next. All right, my lovies, let's get into it. One of the biggest signs is when he remembers tiny little details about you. Not just the obvious things, I mean random little things that most people would forget, like your favorite drink, the name of your dog, the song you said you loved one time, or the fact that you had an exam this week. Because when a guy likes you, he pays attention, even when he pretends he doesn't. And the craziest part is, sometimes he remembers things you forgot you even said. That is such a huge sign, because guys do not usually store random information about girls they do not care about. If he remembers tiny details about you, it usually means you've been on his mind a lot more than you think. And that's also why he might randomly text you about the smallest things, like sending you a picture of something that reminded him of you, or texting you after hours of silence with something completely random, because when someone likes you, they are always looking for excuses to talk to you, even if the conversation makes absolutely no sense. Like suddenly he's asking you for help with something he could have Googled in 2 seconds, or he sends you a TikTok that has nothing to do with anything, or he replies to your story literally 10 seconds after you post it. And no, that is not an accident. Because if someone is always finding little ways to be in your space, it usually means they want your attention. And honestly, the story replies are such a big one. Because a guy who secretly likes you will use anything as an excuse to talk to you. You post your coffee? He replies. You post your dog? He replies. You post the sky? Somehow he still replies. And suddenly every little thing becomes a reason for him to start a conversation. That is not random. That is interest. Another thing that happens when a guy secretly likes you is that he starts acting different around you than he does around everyone else. Maybe he gets quieter. Maybe he gets louder. Maybe he suddenly becomes nervous. Maybe he starts teasing you more. But there is usually some kind of difference, because when someone likes you, they become more aware of themselves around you. They care more. They overthink more. And sometimes they get awkward in the weirdest ways. Like maybe he is super confident with everyone else, but around you he suddenly stumbles over his words. Or maybe he acts cool one day and distant the next, because he is trying way too hard not to make it obvious. And my lovies, if a guy is giving you that weird mix of confident, nervous, sweet, awkward energy, there is usually something there. People act weird when they care. And speaking of acting weird, one of the biggest signs is when his friends start acting weird too. Because guys are terrible at keeping secrets from their friends. His friends usually know. Which means if they suddenly start smiling when you walk by, or looking at him when you talk, or leaving the two of you alone on purpose, or making little jokes that make no sense to you, there is a very good chance they know something, because guys tell their friends everything, and sometimes his friends give it away before he does, especially if they keep bringing you up around him, or if they seem a little too interested in whether you like him back. That is usually not for no reason. And then there is the eye contact, because eye contact is such a huge one. If someone secretly likes you, they will look at you a lot, way more than they realize. Sometimes you catch them staring. Sometimes you look up and they immediately look away. Sometimes you make eye contact and there is that weird little moment where it feels like something is happening. Like suddenly everything gets quiet for a second. And if you keep catching him looking at you when he thinks you are not paying attention, that means something. Because people look at the things they like. It is really that simple. Especially if he looks at you in group settings. Like if something funny happens, and he immediately looks at you to see your reaction. That is one of the sweetest signs ever, because it means you are the person he is paying attention to first. And honestly, jealousy is another huge sign, even if he tries to hide it. Because a guy who secretly likes you usually acts a little strange when other guys are around. Maybe he suddenly becomes more interested. Maybe he asks weird questions. Maybe he starts acting colder. Maybe he tries to make it seem like he does not care, while very obviously caring. And no, I do not mean toxic jealousy. I mean that subtle little shift in energy, like when you mention another guy and he suddenly gets quieter, or he starts asking, "Wait, who is that?" Or he pretends not to care, but somehow keeps bringing it up. Because if a guy likes you, the idea of someone else having your attention bothers him, even if he would never admit it. And another thing guys do when they secretly like you is they try to impress you in little ways, not always in an obvious way. Sometimes it is super subtle, like suddenly he dresses better around you, or he tries harder, or he mentions things he is good at, or he becomes extra funny, or extra protective, because when someone likes you, they want you to see them, they want you to think highly of them, they want you to notice them, and sometimes they care way too much about what you think. Like if you compliment him once and suddenly he never forgets it. That is such a sign. And before we continue, comment below with a 1 if you currently have a crush. I want to know how many of my lovies are going through this right now. Because honestly, having a crush is so exciting but also so confusing. You notice every text, every look, every little change in energy. And sometimes you convince yourself you are imagining it, but usually you are not. Because when someone likes you, you can feel it. Maybe not immediately, maybe not perfectly, but the energy is different. And one of the biggest mistakes girls make is ignoring their intuition. Because deep down, you usually already know. You know when someone is finding reasons to be around you. You know when someone gets nervous around you. You know when someone suddenly starts acting different. And no, not every guy who is nice to you is secretly in love with you. But if he is doing a lot of these things at once, remembering details, texting you for no reason, looking at you all the time, acting nervous, acting jealous, finding excuses to be near you, there is a very good chance he likes you. He might just be scared. He might be shy. He might not know what to do. But that does not mean the feelings are not there. So my lovies, if you have been wondering whether your crush likes you back, maybe this is your sign to stop overthinking every little thing. Because sometimes the answer is already right in front of you. You just have to notice it. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to 1001 Relationship Facts for more content about relationships, psychology, and love. And comment below which sign stood out to you the most. And maybe send this to a friend who cannot stop talking about her crush, because trust me, she is going to need this. And if you want no 7 red flags in men that show you exactly when to walk away from someone, make sure to watch my last video. It's right here on the channel. Thank you for watching, my lovies, and I'll see you in the next video.